Following the prologue title card, Expedition 33 the video game begins in earnest. Below our balcony, we can see Lumière's crowded port, our eventual destination. The scene is paired with our fourth piece of music and already our third arrangement of the Lumière theme. This piece is awkwardly called Lumière, Lumière à l'aube, although I'm going to omit that first Lumière, since that naming scheme seems to mean more so a quirk of the original soundtrack, which prefaces almost every track with its location name. The title translates to Lumière at dawn, which is fitting enough since we can see the sun beginning to rise in the east of town, here at the very, very beginning of the game. To me, though, this piece does not sound like a sunrise, but rather a sunset. The already mournful Lumière chord progression from the preceding two tracks is slowed down an extra 5 BPMs. The simmering optimism found in Gustave's piano and viola aren't here either. Neither is Duport-Percier's anthemic sing-songy vocals. Instead, everything is stripped back to just two acoustic guitars. The plaintive lead guitar noodles across several melodies, including the main Lumière leitmotif, but here it is feeble and much more delicate. This is our most honest rendition of the theme, then. As Gustave wanders the ravaged, malformed remains of the city, we see Lumière at dawn, yes, but also in its twilight years. At this point, we can see that the game is really trying to hammer home the Lumière leitmotif into our head, what with this being now our third arrangement of the theme in under 4 minutes. On top of that, this third version, Lumière à l'aube, is the track that you will hear the most throughout the prologue, as it is the main exploration track for the entire city. The game is doing its darndest to make sure you'll remember this melody long after you've left the city. Proceeding along the rooftops leads to Maëlle offering to spar with you, which functions as the tutorial to Expedition 33's truly exceptional combat system. The opening second of the piece has this little string swell that beautifully propels you forward. Very lovely. Following that, the piece very swiftly morphs into something familiar yet different all at once. Familiar because this is our second arrangement of the piece Alicia, first introduced on the main menu. The use of Alicia's theme in this specific battle here is plenty appropriate, yes, but the thematic resonance of the piece goes beyond that. Without going into any specifics, the piece Our Drafts Unite is a truncated instrumental version of the final boss theme, Our Drafts Collide. Using ostensibly the same piece of music to bookend both the very first and last battle of the entire game ties the whole thing up quite poetically. Nice. From a music production standpoint, however, this piece has a starkly different sound quality to what's come before it. In each of the 4 preceding tracks, Laurien Testard employed a very limited instrument palette, which led to a more intimate audio mix, where every instrument and voice sounds closer and is more discernible. Alicia and Lumière, along with a handful of other pieces throughout the score, were arranged, orchestrated, and conducted by Daniel Sicard of Orchestre Curieux, and from a purely recording quality standpoint, I think they stand head and shoulders above the rest of the score. With Our Drafts Unite, we're introduced to a much more heavily produced wall of sound. There's a massive, heavy kick drum dominating the low end and driving us forward, strings and brass sections playing off each other on the left and right side of the soundstage, and all sorts of ambient lower strings or digitized choirs that all make for a pretty busy mix, especially in the low and mid-range. And yet, during my first playthrough, this was the first piece that really clicked with me, and it's all thanks to how the piece is used. Expedition 33's combat system is impressively noisy with clicky UIs, chunky impact sounds, and dramatic audio effects tied to nailing the game's most crucial mechanic, parries. Landing a parry causes the music to briefly be fed through a low-pass filter, which dulls the high-frequency sounds up until the moment of impact. Yeah, I never got tired of that. In this context, a stout track like Our Drafts Unite, with its somewhat low dynamic range, makes for a great showcase of the battle system's reactive audio system. If you remove the sound effects, you can better hear what's happening to the music during the moment right before impact. The very consistent sound output allows the EQ filtering to really shine regardless of where you are in the track. And speaking of reactive, upon quote-unquote killing Maëlle, hey, it's their wording, not mine, the music closes out the bar it's on, then shifts to a unique outro section. While many JRPGs rely on a single end-of-battle fanfare track, Testar said hold my beer and essentially created a bespoke fanfare for literally every single battle and boss battle theme. In the case of Our Drafts Unite, Testar simply loops one of the pre-existing sections, but in some cases the implementation is even more unique. It's an elegant system, and one I expect we'll see variations on in many future JRPGs, both big and small. Following his sparring match with Maëlle, Gustave eventually catches up with Sophie, a chance for one last goodbye. This gentle cutscene is paired with the score's most intimate arrangement yet, a solo piano. It is also our first piece that isn't simply another arrangement of either Alicia or Lumière. Ironically, those prior two compositions are predominantly built around minor keys and as such are dripping with very explicit, earnest melancholy. This piece, however, is built around a major key, yet to me this is a much more loaded and heartbreaking piece of music than what's come before. Part of that is thanks to the bittersweet context of the scene, yes, but really it's how the piano performance reveals the scene's true emotions. The scene starts with pleasantries and awkward stutters. The piece matches the scene's somewhat safe or guarded tempo by oscillating between two comfortable chords. The melody is simple, rarely venturing outside the confines of the key. As the characters begin to open up, so too does the music. The melody becomes longer and more complex, thanks in part due to additional chromatic notes, i.e., notes that don't really belong to the key we're in. Yeah, such a beautiful melody. Those notes add a lot of dynamic tension and nuance to the emotions of the scene. We're still fundamentally in a happy major key, but the melody's chromatic half steps hit like a freight train. The piece's title, Rêveries dans Lumière, roughly translates to Daydreams within Lumière. When Sophie asks Gustave if he'll accompany her to the port, knowing full well the dire implications of what's to come, we dip to a tragic, tension-filled minor fourth before resolving. The veneer of hope peeling in the face of tragedy. A daydream's end. We'll leave it there for today. Thank you for watching, and also thanks for your participation with all the likes and comments on the first video. The busy comment sections help both the algorithm and also me personally when it comes to my own motivation with long, multi-part projects like this, so thank you for participating. And if you appreciate the work I do, I encourage you to check out my Patreon. So far, my videos have yet to reach a wider audience on YouTube, so it's entirely thanks to the Patreon that I can commit the frankly obscene amount of time I spend on this channel. So give it a look. Okay, that's it. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.